Do you think we can? Is it okay to ask her about like gay serious stuff, like gay and religion kind of stuff?
You need to start your own podcast now, and it needs to be called Gay and Serious Things with Gavin Lodge. To get it out of your fucking body so you can come to our show, which is a comedy show, and say funny things.
And this is Gaytriarchs with not a funny guy.
So I went to my first school referendum meeting, footloose, yelling at each other kind of thing the other day. And I know this is your wheelhouse, not mine, but I have some neighbors who were really passionate about this particular referendum. So I went to this thing. Anyway, the story is that they were doing a presentation on this new addition to the school they want to make. And they were using this guy's like personal laptop. And all I could think of the whole time was I would never project my laptop screen to a room, and including a Zoom call full of hundreds of people. I kept thinking, my heart was racing, going, God, please have all your notifications turned off. I hope you don't tile your background to where we see open windows hidden. And it made me so fucking nervous.
That would be very,
it would have
funny.
been very funny, but it was a referendum on an addition to the school. Yes, but it is, I think, appropriate because, the people who showed up to yell and bitch and moan about how their taxes were going up $18 a month were only seniors.
72 years old.
Only seniors. And
the most powerful voting group in America, because what? They pay attention, they want to keep their money, and they vote.
But in our state in New Jersey, there is a senior tax freeze where if you're at a certain age and make under $180,000 a year, your property taxes can freeze every year to where none of these additions affect your taxes at all. But they're the only people who show up because they're bitchy and moany and they have nothing else to do, I guess. I'm kind of being a dick. But
also they care and they have the time.
They care, but they are not thinking about the community, right? Because to them, investing in a school, so 30 years down the road blank doesn't affect them. And it was just
Listen,
wild.
Y'all, you reaped all the benefits 40 years ago, and now you got to pay it forward a little bit. Like, this is your duty.
This woman stood up and she was like, I used to go to this school in the 70s and I took a class like the one they were proposing, which they've since gotten rid of. And she's like, it changed my life. And, this is my career now and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, oh, she's like pro this. And she was like, so I don't think these kids need stuff like this. And I was like, oh, my God. I had to walk up to the guy afterwards and I said, I don't know how you get through these town council sort of meetings without wanting to just push everybody off a bridge, because it was gross, but he was really hot.
Did he respond?
No, he was just really hot. I just wanted to go up to
I was going to say, that was my next question. Sorry, you definitely jumped on that. Like, was he hot?
And he was hot, yeah. So anyway, the point of my story is old people are ruining school referendums, and don't use your personal laptop for projecting things at a public meeting.
Yeah. So, you know what? It's been a while since we talked about gay news, which I think is a good thing. Like, we're not making news because nobody cares and there isn't terrible stuff out there generally, except I do have to say, in a bit of, I can see your face. You're like, and he's going to bring it down.
No, I was just thinking like what, there is no such thing as good gay news. Nobody says, hey, by the way, gays are cool. And there's like an article about it. Like, it's never that. It's like gays ruined something.
Yeah, well, you know what? The straights ruined something too. And a brief moment for Next Benedict, who is that situation and that undoubtedly court proceeding is still going to be out there for a while. But what I think is cool in the news is that dozens of students at their high school in Oklahoma walked out because they were protesting the administration's treatment of the entire situation. And it was just an act of solidarity. So even though we kind of think, oh, geez, there's nothing good coming out of that poor high school and it's stuck in Oklahoma. Let's face it. There are allies and members of the Gaytriarch family who are in Oklahoma too. So sending them all the good vibes. Thank you for standing up for what's right, students.
And it's so good to see kids that age feel like they want to try to change something, because I think you're often told at that age, you're too young, shut up, sit down, or whatever. And when people defy that, I love that. I tell you what, when they tried to pull the vending machines out of my high school, I was like,
hell yeah,
fuck you, motherfuckers. I want my chips, I want my Sun Chips, and I want my Diet Coke.
You know what? Speaking of exactly that and your referendum, I don't know that many of our listeners know that I am actually an elected member of the Board of Education. Yes, you've definitely mocked me for that before. But we are actually having to deal with some of that food in schools. Like any food that is sold to students has to comply with a law that is tied to a federal subsidy we get. And so, of course, you know that the vending machines are going to be raided. And I'm just waiting for the absolute vitriol that's going to come from people because they can't get their Sun Chips. And by people, I don't mean the students. It'll definitely be parents who are enraged that their human rights are being taken away.
All that's here is garden salsa. I want harvest cheddar. Let's get into a dad hack of the week, shall we? Let's be helpful to these people.
So, as I was looking into some dad hacks, actually, I stumbled across a YouTube influencer, a mere 687,000 followers. Good for you, buddy. I don't know what you're doing with your time except making videos on dad hacks, and he's probably making millions of dollars doing it. But the guy is named Dude Dad, and he has a fantastic YouTube page of dad hacks, and not just like douchebaggy things that make you look like a dick, but rather really functional things. For instance, for those of us raising baseball players, he comes up with the idea of, and you have a toddler or a 3 or 4 year old, putting a tennis ball at the end of a fishing pole and having the kid hit it with a bat, and then the ball gets sent. And you can just sit there and, while you've got your martini in one hand, you can just roll the ball back up with the fishing pole.
Is. I was wondering where alcohol would play it.
And then another one, when, how when toddlers are driving in the car and they fall asleep and their heads are bobbing around and you think, oh my God, their necks must hurt so much.
When toddlers are driving the car?
When toddlers are driving a car and they've fallen asleep at the wheel and their heads are bobbing around, it looks really painful, right? And you always think, how do I hold their head up? Well, he came up with this really simple hack of putting a strip of Velcro on the back of the car seat and on top of a baseball hat and attaching the baseball hat to the Velcro so it holds their head up. And a baseball hat is like more comfortable than like, tying their heads to the seat.
Yeah, we'll have to run that by Jamie Grayson. There's something about that seems a little dangerous, but also a really great idea. So, TBD on that.
I'm not going to go through the entire thing, and I am actually sending traffic to you, Dude Dad, which, by the way, we'd love to have you on our show to talk about dad hacks. But go check out Dude Dad on YouTube because he's funny and innovative as heck.
I know this is an old joke, but it's so funny when you think about all the kind of new baby safety things. And then there's like a trend going on TikTok about this where like you cut to like a photo of you in your childhood, just like free range in the back seat of a Cadillac.
Yeah.
Just sliding back and forth on every curve.
Hell yeah.
Oh man. I remember my grandma had a minivan and she would smoke with the windows up.
Nice.
And we would go to the beach and me and my cousins would be in the trunk with our feet up.
Yes.
And we would pretend we were being kidnapped. And we fucking loved it. We fucking loved it.
My grandmother drove a like an Oldsmobile station wagon that comfortably sat 16. And it had one of those doors that moved open sideways, like not a hatchback, but and it was just enormous. I mean, that was probably late 60s kind of car. It was, of course, olive green. Mm-hmm. And I loved laying in the back of that thing because you could roll around all over the place. Invariably, it was in the summertime when I would visit. So I would be like sweaty in the back, falling asleep in the back of her car, covered in who knows what is in the dirtiness of my smoking grandmother's station wagon. And by smoking grandmother, I mean she was smoking. So
not smoking.
She was smoking while she was smoking. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, let's move on to our top 3 list, shall we?
Ooh, shall we?
GaytriarchsPodcast top 3 list. 3, 2, 1.
So this week we are doing the top 3 ways you thought you would be a cool dad, but you are absolutely not.
Is this yet again my list that I forgot about, or is this your list?
No, this is my list.
Thanks for that reminder.
So at number 3 for me, I thought I would be cool with naps and bedtimes. I thought I would just be like, when the kid falls asleep, he falls asleep. We'll just bring him to bed. If you want to nap in the car, you can nap in the car. I am so fucking rigid with nap times. If it is 1 8:01. I'm like, we're late for naps. Like, I am so hardcore about that. So number 3, flexible with bedtimes. Number 2, I thought it'd be cool. I thought my kids would love for me to sing and dance for them. Like in the mornings, I give full breakfast performances to whatever music is playing. And I thought in my head, my kids are going to look up to me and be like, that guy was on Broadway. And they look at me like I'm a piece of shit and I should stop dancing. And number 1, I thought I'd be a young dad. I literally thought when I was having my kids, I was like, oh, I'm going to be looked at as like a young dad. I was 39, Gavin. I'm an old dad. But in my mind, I was a new dad. So people looked at me like, what are these babies having babies for? That's not true. I'm an old, I am now 44 and I am an old dad. So what about you?
The 3, well, I definitely can relate to every single one of those, especially the free reign factor, thinking that I would just be cool with it. Just like let him free reign. But I think I took a slightly different tack to this, of course, because
you don't listen.
Because what I mean is my perception of myself, I thought I was going to be a cool dad. First of all, I thought, nope, I'm not going to be like any of those guys. My dad bod is going to be with abs.
Ooh,
I mean, I've been holding this delusion for my entire life.
You're going to be a grandparent and still be working on this.
Someday, I would actually have a 6-pack. And needless to say, I am not that cool a dad. Number 2, I thought that I would be basically like Amy Poehler in Mean Girls, not exactly serving margaritas to my children by any stretch, but I thought that my kids would want to hang with me. And no, I'm living Amy Poehler in Mean Girls, where my 12-year-old daughter rolls her eyes so hard she almost has a seizure every time she sees me walk into a room. So clearly, I am not the cool dad.
That is very true in the way I think about you and as Amy Poehler in Mean Girls. Like, that is a perfect comparison.
Yeah, guys. Hey, I just
I'm not like regular parents.
I'm a cool dad. Nope, I'm just totally fucking lame.
And your daughter's like, die.
Yeah, 100%. And then number 1, I thought I was going to be rich. Once again, delusional. I just kind of thought, I'm not sure how it's going to be, but I thought I would be rich with a 6-pack that all kids would want to hang out with me. And instead, I'm lame, poor, and fat. That's exactly right. Not as cool as I thought I was going to be.
So what is next week's top 3 list, Gavin?
So going on the theme of embarrassing your children, can you tell me the 3 times you were most embarrassed by your parents as a kid?
So our guest this week, I'm sorry, everyone, is kind of a real nobody. She's an attorney. She's an advocate. She's an author of the New York Times bestselling book, Adnan's Story, and the executive producer of a 4-part HBO documentary series, The Case Against Adnan Syed. She is also a fellow podcaster, and her new memoir called Fatty Fatty Boom Boom, a memoir of food, fat, and family, was obviously stolen, as this is what I say to myself in the mirror every single day. But even though she's basically done nothing with her life, we wanted to have her on our show today because she is a mom, and she is a mom to 3 kids over 3 different decades. Woo! So please welcome to the show, Rabia Chaudry. Hi, Rabia.
Hi, Gavin.
We hope that you're really prepared for this and you've come with an entire dossier of notes. I'm
sure you're nervous.
I come with 30 years of life experience. Literally 10 minutes ago, I dumped garlic powder on my shirt as I was frantically trying to finish making food before I got on here. That's what I come with. Life experience.
You come with the garlic for sure.
But we for sure want our guests to be messy and covered in garlic. Like if you came here all like prepped and be like, oh, I just cut out cute shapes for my kids, food. I'll be like,
you're in the wrong. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. You're in the wrong podcast.
Those people need to go to prison. And I say that as a criminal justice reform advocate.
You're like, I won't represent you because I think you should go directly.
You deserve to be there.
Yeah. They just exist to make us feel like crap, basically. I mean,
do you need to come out with like a new TikTok that basically you judging these parents and you just with a gavel being like directly to prison?
Guilty.
Absolutely guilty.
Well, you do have 3 kids, ages, am I correct? 27.
She'll be 27 in May, but 26 right now. Mm-hmm.
And then the other 2, and spanning down to 7 years old. So I'm curious, right
15
away. I
years
mean,
ago,
talking
yeah.
about like judging those other parents that don't deserve to, make us feel bad about ourselves. I mean, was there a real mom hack that you had 20 years ago that now you're like, yeah, sorry, you should have been born first. I'm not giving that to you, the little one.
Gosh, a mom hack from 20 years ago. No, I think you learn your parenting hacks as you parent more. I mean, I had my first daughter in my first marriage, and then I was a single mom for a bit after my divorce, and then I got remarried. I am now going through another divorce, so yay, here I am, single
Okay.
momming again.
Uh-huh.
But
Keeping it real.
keeping it real. You know, I just think, and I realize why, and I'm the eldest in my family, and I would be like, how come my kid brother gets away with everything? You're just tired and you prioritize. You're like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter if he spends another 40 minutes on the iPad. At the end of the day, it will not affect whether or not he turns out to be a good person.
Right.
But every parent goes through exactly that. I did that too.
Yeah.
I was our first kid had no sugar, not a grain of sugar until he
David.
was one. He was one, and then on his first birthday, I made him a sugarless applesauce cake, to which he threw to the ground in a fit of rage. And then my daughter
righteous
has
rage.
been my daughter came out of the womb and was just eating like cotton candy. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's so
Yeah.
true, because I think every parent thinks they can do it better, and then they realize they can't, and then they just give up.
Yeah, you just give up and roll into a fetal position. No, you just learn that some things are not that serious.
Yeah.
And I think I'm actually a better parent for it.
Mhm.
So I don't feel like a worse parent. I feel like I at some point, I think when my middle child, who's 15 now, was like 3 or 4. Well, this was around the time that book came out. Was it Sheryl Sandberg who wrote Lean In? And I was like, no, I'm going to lean out. That became my personal philosophy. I'm just kind of like, paper plates, everybody, sounds good to me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, what can I do just to get by for now?
Mhm.
And then, momentarily lean in, but no, mostly just relax.
Because you realize what matters, and what matters is
Mhm.
mom's sanity. Because
Yeah.
mom's sanity can fuel you being safe and protected and things, but mom's sanity cannot be saved for washing dishes and making an elegant, starfruit pattern on their, snacks.
Exactly. And also, like, you think about, like, what do you remember from your childhood? Like,
Mhm.
they're not going to remember a lot of these. And then my kids are not going to be like, my mom had us eat dinner on paper plates for a whole month one time. They're going to remember that I was there.
Yeah.
I was there
Yeah.
at dinner time with them.
Totally.
That's what matters.
And also, if the paper plates make it in, it'll make a hell of a college essay. And, you'll go down in history as being terrible. But whatever. You're welcome, kids. You got into whatever school you wanted to go to. So it's all right.
That is
So you are, I don't want to spend too much time on this, because I'm sure you've done a billion interviews on Serial and Adnan and that whole part of your life. But what I was most fascinated about, first of all, I was for sure one of the people who started listening to podcasts because of this case. That was the only
Same as
reason I
me.
started.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing what it did for the world. But what the question I wanted to ask you as a parent was, when this kind of sudden fame happened and this sudden explosion for you happened, did it at all affect how your kids related to you, as like mom is now this person being talked about or being in interviews? Like, how does your kids react to your kind of sudden fame?
Well, at the time, let's see, I didn't have the third one. He was kind of born into all of it. Like, just, when by the time he came around, I was already doing all the public facing stuff. But the truth is this, even for my daughters, who did see that, before Serial happened, I was already an activist and a community advocate, like really since 9/11. I mean, like, that's because, I'm an American Muslim, and a lot of stuff happened after 9/11 and I was in law school at the time. And so I had already spent a career doing a lot of public speaking, doing a lot of public writing. I had a column in Time magazine before Serial came out, so they were kind of used to mom being on this board and going here and doing, like they were kind of used to, of course, this is a different kind of level where mom goes out and she's recognized by people. I think that was weird for all of us. We all had to get used to this. And my eldest, who I guess was a teenager at the time, kind of, her strategy, and I totally think it was right, was just to not tell people that, oh, that's my mom and I know Adnan uncle and I've known him since I was a baby. It's just not to let people know. And then people would find out, like, after they've known her for a couple of years and be like, what? So, and then they come to my house and I'd be like any old, auntie, to them and
Meemaw.
say it wasn't a
Auntie
Meemaw.
Meemaw.
Yeah, Auntie
Yep.
Meemaw.
Auntie Meemaw. Yeah, no, they handled it well. And, I've always had this thing where I'm like, sometimes I do have to obviously travel for work, but otherwise I do my best that by 5 or 6 p.m. I'm just mom, it's bedtime, bath time, dinner time. I cook at home. I try to be as present, like a homemaker, like a homemaker mom,
A homesteader
would be a homesteader. Yeah, exactly. That's my next evolution. I can't wait to get there.
Oh my God! Please start making things in like glass mason jars and like homemade Rice Krispies, which is all the rage right now on TikTok. I'm like, what are you fucking
really?
doing?
Homemade Rice Krispies. That's too.
It is literally people being like, a bag of rice is only $1. Rice Krispies are $5. Just pour it in oil and fry it, and then drain it on
gross.
paper towel. Is like you're
Ridiculous.
already $10 in with the oil and paper towels. What are you doing, people?
And also, time is money. I will once in a while make homemade rice, but I buy the Rice Krispie cereal. I mean, like, who's frying rice? That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no. I have to run and get my power cord because my computer's about to die. I'm going to get back in 2 seconds.
This is so unprofessional.
Does
are
he
you fucking kidding me?
It's fine. I do that all the time, David. I do all the time. Maybe he's new to podcasting. Have you ever considered that?
Oh my God, he's just the worst. No, he's great. I make fun of him endlessly. It's the only way I get through these shows is just constantly making fun of him.
But that's what people love about it. It's one person has to do that. In our show, I am the brunt of some jokes, and Ellen gets
for sure.
Yeah.
Which is insane because Ellen is nobody. You are
Ellen is
you are an American treasure. You are an American treasure, and Ellen is garbage. What are you doing over there? Don't let her talk to you that way.
She's actually the star. She is the star, the performer. I just turned into I'm just a block of clay around her. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. We have a live tour coming for our show, and I'm just so mortified because she gets. I'm obvious she's a performer, and I'm not, and so it goes great for me.
Yeah, because she gets to do all the dancing around. You just sit there and let her look like an idiot.
Yeah,
which she loves.
All right, are we ready to get back in?
Oh, sorry. I thought you would just keep going. Thank you.
Oh, I mean, we were just talking. I guess we could keep all this in. I mean, listen, our show is way less elegant than all 17 podcasts that you host right now, Rabia, including the one we were just talking about with our mutual friend, Ellen.
How many podcasts is it, actually?
Right now, I currently have 2 podcasts, and I have a third one coming out end of April. We have a fourth one that is in a very early investigative stage. It's probably, I mean, people think this is like the biggest case I've done, but the case I'm working on now is going to be the biggest case of my career, probably. It's a wrongful conviction, but it's a terrorism case. So it's it's like an international case. So it's a big, big case. And so that'll be, I'm just in the investigative stages, and eventually it'll be turned into a series, but I think my agents already started pitching it. So, that's 4, but before, I mean, in the past, I've had the 45th during the 4 very difficult years of the Trump administration, which we are about to enter once again. I'm calling it. I hate to tell you guys.
Oh, you are? You are calling it? Yeah, all right. Well, your glass is going to be half empty, but we can't wait to say you were wrong, right?
Well, the good news is that
I would love to be
that administration doesn't really affect any of us at all for any reason.
No.
So I think we're fine.
We're completely inoculated against his policies.
Yeah. His policies really lift us up, right?
Wait a minute. So when you do all of these podcasts, though, do you consider yourself an investigator, or is this full on attorney hat, or is it more
journalism?
Podcasting? Yeah, is it journalism? What are you?
It depends.
In all of this?
I am my title is attorney, author, advocate. I haven't put podcaster on there yet, but frankly, I'm a podcaster. The thing is, like, my show with Ellen, Rabia and Ellen Solve the Case, takes what I love about the show. It's fun. It's 1 hour. We try to solve a case with a guest because we know that celebrities also love true crime, and we were like, this is a little outlet for you. But I try to take everything I've learned as a innocence attorney and investigator on wrongful convictions and bring that skill set and that knowledge into the show. So, I mean, it's been great because a lot of listeners of the show are not the kind of people who want to listen to a 20-part investigative series. But when I break things down and say the reason this is not evidence, but this is evidence, I'm drawing on that experience, but it's in a short format. So I don't have to put in tons of work. Whereas After Adnan's case, me and my team at Undisclosed, Undisclosed ran for 7 years. It did tremendously well. And we helped bring 17 defendants home.
Amazing.
And so, but in every one of those cases, we spend 2, 3, 4, sometimes 4 years investigating before we can get on air.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those kinds of cases, I can only do 1 or 2 at a time. So I always have 1 or 2, and that's like the one I mentioned. And then the one I have called Nighty Night is purely narrative because people like to listen to my voice. They like to fall asleep to it.
It's true. You do have a great radio voice.
Well, I lower my register, and then the other one that's coming out in April is going to be another narrative voice. And those are just fun, creative projects for me. And I'm just a narrator.
But
cool.
So this is the last question I'm going to ask about Serial, and that way we'll move on. But I'm fascinated by it. Were you at all worried when kind of it exploded in the public consciousness, this case, that the mere popularity of it and the visibility of it would affect it on the legal side? So were you worried that like
there would be blowback?
It's just that it would move the needle in one way that maybe it wouldn't have prior, good or bad.
The truth is, because it was like the first of its kind, this had never happened before in any kind of really criminal case, I think, where you are, and even, what Serial did was provide an opportunity for those who are his advocates, because it didn't advocate for his innocence to then take it from there, basically. Mm-hmm. And what I worried about people think I had something to do with like producing it. I didn't. I was interviewed for it. I provided as many contacts and resources that their team needed, but I'd have to listen every week to figure out what they're going to say next. I had no idea what was coming. And every week it was awful. I would be like, shit, is she going to say he's, and I don't know what she found in her investigation. What I was hoping was she would find something that would help exonerate him fully, like a witness recanting or something like that. That didn't really happen. I just didn't, my biggest concern was like public opinion, because I thought, if we can take public opinion on our side, it'll give us the momentum. It'll help like fund his, we got a lot of donations and stuff. It'll help continue to fund his defense. I was concerned about that. I didn't really think it would make a difference in what happened in a courtroom, because there wasn't nothing happening in a courtroom at that time. There were no appeals, and well, there was, but I mean, I didn't think it would be impacted by this. And I want to think that it still wasn't, because ideally no judge or jury should be swayed by but it is hard not to be, I know.
Yeah. Especially with, like you said, something so unprecedented as far as it's like sudden fame. Like this is at all not equivocal, but like when Lost became such a huge phenomenon, and it actually spurred some podcasts and some things into like that was a world where like we'll never go through that kind of like what's going to happen next week kind of in kind of TV and media. But the same thing with this case, like it was one of those rare things that happened where like everybody was talking about it, where there's just too much stuff now.
I mean, it's on Saturday Night Live. It was a cultural phenomenon, and in real time podcasts are popping up to talk about Serial. Slate did a whole podcast to talk about Serial, and others did the same thing, and it was a lot coming at me and the family, because we're like, holy crap, and it felt a little bit out of control. But I found I was like, the only way I have control is, but I had a blog. This was back in the day, the blogs.
Ooh.
So every week.
Your blog years old. I'm blog years old,
yeah. And so I would just write these long blogs after every episode to be like, oh, this is what I have to say about this. This is like my response to this, and this is what's missing from this episode. And that's where I was like, I found my kind of control, and I just needed some semblance of control. So,
yeah.
And that was sanctioned by Koenig, or did it even matter?
Hell no. She was really upset about that. She
really?
Yes. Because I'd be like, wait a minute.
Yes.
I didn't call him out completely, but I'd be like, well, there's more to the story. I'll give you a small example where she talked about the detectives in the case and she literally said, they're basically good guys trying to do their jobs. At the time Serial came out, there were 2 civil lawsuits against the same detectives for framing 2 other innocent men. And I said, Sarah,
wait a minute.
Yeah. And so I linked to the lawsuits. I talked about the other shit they had done. And I'm like, no, let's really talk about these detectives. And so, no, they did not like that. But, oh, well, I mean, I have my own agenda. This was not for entertainment for us.
No.
We had a purpose.
That's what's so weird about it, is that like the casual observer looks at this as a purely entertainment story. They're like, oh, what's going to happen? What happened? Oh, this is what I think. This is what I think. But
There
you
were
forget
people
that
who thought it was fiction. There were people who didn't know it was a real story.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so gripping.
This is not the same, but it was like, it reminds me a little bit of like The Staircase, and I know you guys have done this before. And then I remember watching it and then texting with my friend about it, and he was like, well, have you heard of the owl theory? I was like, what are you talking about? And then when I read the owl theory, I literally exploded into like deep dive YouTube. I was like, oh my God, this changes everything. And
I am team owl.
To me, if you're out there not listening and you're like, what are they talking about? Literally just Google the owl theory. It will pop right up. But there is when you look at that autopsy report, and there's no other no other explanation
for the marks on the head. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you have owl feathers in your scalp?
Who randomly has those?
Like who? I mean, Gavin might, but that's a different story.
It's
anyway,
just covering up bald spots. So
okay, so that is kind of what brought you kind of to our world and podcasting and to fame. So I'm curious. You are you said you're a Muslim. You are raising your kids in America. Yeah. Pretty easy, right? That's cool. No problems there.
It's been challenging, I got to say, after 9/11. And I think social media has made it both worse and better in some ways. I will say, look, when I was growing up in America, a lot of people just didn't know what a Muslim was, which was kind of worked in our favor. They're like, oh, what is that? Is that from a particular place, or what is that? A brand of, ketchup? What is it? No idea what it is. And so it kind of, and I grew up in small town America, because my dad worked for the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So we were on these little towns, and people just didn't know. They didn't bother. They were nice to us and we were nice to them. That was the end of it. And then after 9/11, obviously things got very, very hairy. We spent a long time just trying to defend ourselves. But now, my eldest daughter, who's 26, she grew up in kind of the cloud of post 9/11 America, where there's a lot of suspicion and fear around Muslims. There's a lot of misinformation, just a lot of, some deliberate, some not. And I made the decision at that time that because I did not want her being bullied at school, I'm going to put her in a private Islamic school, a Muslim school, and I did. Whereas now, my 15-year-old, it's a different time. And
already,
yeah, we have moved beyond that. And I tend to think of Trump as the alien invader that like brought so many of us together and realized, oh, who the enemy, you know what I mean? Like who we need to actually fear.
Yeah.
And
Midwestern white women.
With guns.
I mean, right? Like that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's those pretzel strawberry salads that we have to fear.
I made a Snickers green apple salad with Cool Whip and a block of cream cheese. It is amazing. Everyone will love you at parties. No, they won't.
I wouldn't even eat it for dessert. Actually, I gotta try it. I have friends who make it. I keep hearing about it, but I've never had it. So and then for my 15-year-old now, she's living in an era where like you turn on MSNBC, you've got Ali Velshi and Mehdi Hassan and all the you have American Muslim comics and actors. What's it called? What's his name? Oh my God, Hassan Minhaj. Hassan Minhaj like did the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I mean, we did not grow up seeing this kind of representation.
Yeah.
By the way, he is so hot. Like I feel uncomfortable even talking. Like he is so. When he was on, he was a Daily Show first, right? Or that was When he was on Daily Show, I was literally like, I might divorce my husband for this guy.
This
and
might
not
be
even
get out of free card.
Not that he likes me, just for the chance that maybe someday he is so hot. Anyway.
I listen, David, I just want to tell you, if you guys think, I mean, I've heard other people say that. I mean, I have some really good friends. Like Mehdi Hassan's a good friend. He's an incredible journalist. And I have friends who are like, oh, he's so hot. I'm like, you need to just go to Pakistan or India because these guys are fine looking, but there are some real fine looking brothers back.
Okay, let's go. Maybe we should do a Gaytriarchs trip, and we can just go and just hoe out. I'm totally down for that.
No, So I think my daughters are my kids now are just they don't feel like things are much different than 20 years ago. We have a lot of other challenges, obviously. And the attacks have shifted now to like LGBTQI communities, to trans people, to other kinds of things, to reproductive rights. So it's almost like, and to, angry white young men with guns, which is kind of a relief, but also terrifying.
Yep.
So yeah.
How do you not hold on? I maybe just because you're way more mature than I am, but how do you not hold on to just the unfairness of even the first couple of years after 9/11 and not just bring that with you everywhere you go? I don't know if I still feel like I carry some of that with like being gay in the South and how unfair it was. And sometimes I still feel like I carry that with me. I cannot imagine what it felt like for you those first couple of years after 9/11.
It wasn't even honestly, it was probably the first 7 or 8 years, because what's crazy is that anti-Muslim sentiment grew for the first decade. That's how we got to Trump and the Muslim ban. Like it was growing actually every single year. 10 years out from 9/11, Republicans were polled and they said American Muslims should not be allowed to hold office. And so this is 10 years out from 9/11. The reason, I will say this, and my parents immigrated to this country because my dad really felt like this was the best country in the world, despite all of the challenges, because it is constantly evolving, because there's always space to change things, to move the needle forward, so you don't feel like you're completely helpless. You don't feel like I don't have freedom of expression. I don't have the freedom to protest. We can go to court, we can go to media, we can do things. It doesn't always work, but we can without like, let's say, being disappeared by the local law enforcement. So just, as somebody who, I'm from Pakistan, I know a lot about like the Middle East. I know about, in North Africa, other countries, there are very, very flawed systems here, but at least there are systems, right? And so if after 9/11, I sat around feeling like I have no power at all, then maybe I don't know if I could have stayed here. But because I felt like, no, I have the power to do things. I went out, I was speaking, I was talking to local communities, schools, churches, synagogues. I did as much as I could because I had the freedom to do that. And that's what kind of, the American dream is different for different people, but for folks who come from regions where they can't do stuff like that, or it's very limited, or it can be really risky.
Do you think your dad knew that freedom involved green apple Snickers salad? Do you think he knew that was the freedom you guys were running towards?
My poor dad passed away in December of 2022, and he passed away never having tasted that.
That's gotta hurt. That's gotta be the part that hurts the most.
This is some heavy shit that you definitely carry constantly, because you are certainly a crusader for like justice and doing the right thing. So what is your escape? And please don't tell me it's just true crime and reading and researching the murder of children and injustice all over the place. Is that your escape to feel lighter?
She likes to torture animals, Gavin. That's her escape.
I have a couple of escapes. I do like true crime. I cannot lie. I like true crime. I am turning into that old person who I'm starting to read more history and biographies. And I used to be like 20 years ago, I'd be like, who reads that shit? Okay, I read that shit. This is also going to sound like people are going to be like, oh, screw her. But going to the gym, I became, and I've lost 100 pounds in the last 7 years. And so, but it's been a life hence fatty, fatty, boom, boom, a lifelong struggle. But in the last 5-6 years, in my personal life, I've gone through just a ton of real challenges and a lot of trauma. And going to the gym every day, I was like, just 1 hour for me, and I don't have to think about anything else. Which has been my escape, yeah. But I also like to garden. I love gardening.
Wow, Meemaw.
You really are a Meemaw, my Lanta. Oh my!
But
Lanta.
Truly, joking aside, that those are things that do keep you sane, and especially as parents. God, if we could all have an hour to ourselves and make the choice to make it priority. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just can't. But when you find that place in your life, thank goodness for it.
Yeah. Sometimes you think you can't, and what I realized was, when I started saying I'm going to take an hour every evening and go to the gym, my youngest, who's just turned 7, he was like, 1.5, right, at the time. And I'm like, it's an hour. What will happen in an hour? They won't get their dinner for another hour. I don't care. The food's there. They can eat on their own. I'm like, nothing will actually unravel in that hour is what I realized. But, you feel like I can't because I have this responsibility.
Yeah.
No, it's all in your head. You can do it and they will be just fine. And then you're modeling for them.
Yep.
This is important. Yep. So what do I listen to?
I was going to say, do you listen to is it just pop, bubblegum pop music, or is it true crime podcasts that you listen to?
Depends on my mood. I actually love the true crime comedy genre. So I do listen to Ellen Marsh, my co-host, other show, I think not. And I listen to some true crime because, they're like 1 hour. It's easy to digest. There are a couple of, sometimes if there's a really good series and I'm hooked, like an investigative, I listen to that. But I listen to a lot of South Asian music, like just from my roots and stuff. And, Bollywood. I grew up with Bollywood, so I listen to Bollywood music. It's very boppy, and I can't when there's some trainers at the gym I work with, and they're quite young, and they'll put on like this real hard hitting hip hop, and I'm like, I can't. I'm too old for this. I do not understand this. This is making me angry. It's not making me want to like move and be happy. So.
That's the trick, though, right? Is like getting the music that fuels you forward and not just distracts you. But like you're saying, and nothing will, like you're saying, nothing will unravel with your kids gone. It's only upside because you're going to restore, you're going to kind of recharge yourself, and then you're going to come back and be able to actually 100%. Parent those kids. Yeah. So let's round it out here with my favorite thing to ask, which is, what is your favorite and least favorite part about parenting?
My favorite part about parenting is, this is going to sound weird and creepy maybe, but I just love just looking at my children. I will just stare at them. Mm-hmm. I'll just stare at them and be like, how are you so beautiful? Mm-hmm. Children just by virtue of youth are beautiful. So you got to hate them for that. But I just delight in looking at them. And and also obviously hugs. The hugs are good. Mm-hmm. And my 7-year-old is just starting to grow out of we're getting at that point where he's probably not going to want the hugs as much. So I'm just holding on for dear life. Yeah, I don't know. I love my kids. I love my kids. I love kids in general, but I feel delighted when I look at my kids. And when they're all three of them are together, I'm like, look, how did I make them? Yeah. I made them. My least favorite part about parenting is, well, for me, it's 3 generations.
That's
and
amazing.
And everyone has its unique need. That's what's really, my head is constantly spinning. It's not like all 3 are in a certain age range and they all kind of have similar needs. My eldest is getting married. My 15-year-old is doing what 15-year-olds do. College is looming and she needs 8,000 extracurricular activities. And I'm not old enough to drive herself. So it's like, and then my 6-year-old's like, I don't need to read. Who needs to read? I don't like to read. I don't need to learn to read ever. So it's like, I have every generation of challenge. And I think that's what I'm like really not liking about parenting right now is like, and I'm old. I am old for a kid in first grade, right? Like I'll be 50 in June. And I'm like, I will be like 55 and he'll still be in elementary school. Like it's I'm like, I never get to relax. I've been had my first at 23. It's like my whole adult life is it. So.
Well, gardening will be just around the corner and then you'll miss those days of being the old lady at the PTA meetings.
And then you'll be in the garden. You'll be underneath.
I will be buried under the daisy.
Exactly. Yes.
I have plans for my, in a few years, I'm going to get that little homestead with some little goats and my children eventually leave me and it'll just, the goats will eat me and it will all be one.
They'll eat you alive. It'll be a beautiful little moment. Yeah.
I do want to bring it back one just in case, and David can take this out of context if need be, but do you have any of those shitstorm stories from back in the day when you were, hustling with your 2-year-old and also being an activist and also being an attorney pre-podcasting days where you're just like covered in literal baby shit and thinking, is this my life? Is this my life?
There was one time, and I don't know how this happened. And I feel like every parent has that diaper story, that actual shit story. And this was my second child. She was like 7 months old, 6-7 months old. And I had just cleaned her, put on a onesie, washed her up. I was holding her like this. And I was like walking out of the bedroom and my eldest, who was like 12 at the time, was walking towards me and she's like, Mama. I'm like, what? She's like, Mama, what's on your shirt? And I'm like, what's on my shirt? And just from here down, I was covered in diarrhea. However, I don't know how it got out of the diaper and out of the onesie because
infant shit does not follow the rules of physics. It does not.
I was like, because it actually, the onesie was almost completely clean. And I'm like, Where?
How did you shit to the side?
Is there a hose involved here?
No, I don't know. I mean, and then one time I remember the same child, she was like 2, and we went to this national park, and this was like the government had shut down, so they closed all the flippin' bathrooms at the national park, which makes no sense to me. But anyhow, so I'm like, well, she's got to pee. And so we like pulled over. I walked like, 5 feet into the woods. I, take off her whatever pants or whatever. And she's standing there. I'm like, okay, pee. And she won't squat. I'm like, if you're going to pee standing up, it's going to be a huge mess, but I'm not fighting you. Just pee.
Yeah.
But she didn't.
You were leaning out in that moment. Just you
out.
do you.
I'm like, I have wipes. We'll figure it out. But then she also did number 2 standing up. And
oh, God.
Yeah.
And unfortunately not explosive, so all it did was run down her legs.
Yeah, I mean, so, and then she goes, I swear to God, she's like, I didn't do that. A bear did it. I'm like, you did it right
First
in
of all,
front of me.
you just shit all over yourself. Second of all, you're a fucking liar. And oh my God.
You fucking 3-year-old liar.
I mean, I have for sure picked up my kid, and they have diarrhea all the way up their back into their hair on the back of their neck, but they have a clean diaper. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Yes, that has also happened.
I mean,
same kid. It's always been the second one.
You have one shitty kid and 2 non-shitty kids, apparently.
Not as shitty. Yeah. No, my eldest would vomit. She would, if she coughed, she vomited. If she laughed, she vomited. If she sneezed, she vomited. If she ran too fast, she vomited.
Oh my God.
Everything made her vomit. And I wanted to just, oh my God, I cleaned up so much vomit with the first one.
And if your third like pees everywhere, then you have like the holy trinity of vomit, shit, and piss with your 3 children.
So far, so good. We haven't hit that yet, but
I have one more nerdy question. You can take this out too, David, if you want. But or this is the bonus, which is I happened to notice as I was going down your not extensive Wikipedia page that you attended law school at Antonin Scalia Law School.
Listen, it was not called that when I went there.
I wanted to say
that bastard.
I would imagine you have divergently different views of the law.
Diametrically opposed foes.
When I learned, I and other alum learned that it was going to be renamed. It was a George Mason School of Law. It's a state law school. And it was a good school. It was a conservative school even then. I mean, I was like maybe one of 3 people of color in the whole school. But for lots of reasons, it worked for me at the time. And when I learned that they're, because of a funder, I guess the family or something, I don't know who made this big fat donation and they renamed it, I just refuse. I refuse to call it that. And, but we have quite divergent beliefs in the law. Yeah.
The person editing and not updating your Wikipedia page definitely needs to be schooled on that.
Damn it, Ellen.
Wow.
No, it's Ellen. Yeah.
Right back to her. I love that we've talked about her more than anything in this entire
more than my
interview.
children.
I'm so embarrassed. Well, thank you so much for demeaning yourself by being on our stupid little podcast.
Thank you for having me. Ellen has talked so many times of how much she loves you guys and this show, and there was no way I was going to say no. I had so much fun. Thank you guys.
That's so nice.
Thank you. So my something great this week was we were going out and we had a babysitter here, and sometimes the kind of us leaving the house is involved with tears and crying and please don't go and all that kind of stuff.
I'm familiar.
And so the other day we were leaving and I was saying, bye everyone, bye Emmett, bye Hannah. And then I was walking out the corner and I heard, wait from my son. And I was like, fuck, here we go. And my kid, and this is crazy, but he ran up to me and he goes, wait, I want to give you a kiss. And I bent down, he kissed me on the lips and then he ran back to the other room. I was like, what the fuck? That was adorable. That was so sweet. And that's what's in the parenting brochures. That never happens. So that was my something great this week. What about you?
So we have a puzzle game that's in our car, and it's been sitting in the door. It's one of those, you slide the little tiles around. It's meant to just keep you busy in the car, right? Or mainly kids, obviously. But hey, you slide the tiles around and it makes a picture of some cartoon character that I can't even name. It's from a McDonald's Happy Meal from who knows, years, weeks, months ago. It all blurs. And recently, my son rediscovered it. And so he has been wanting to hurry up to the bus so that we can slide this little puzzle together. And he is actually wanting to spend time with me before he becomes a middle schooler and hates me. And so that's something great is quality car time where we're, sitting side by side playing a puzzle together. And it's really fun. Thank you, McDonald's. Happy Meal.
Yeah, for, the clogged arteries, but the memories, really, what we'll carry with us. And that is our show. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general compliments for David, you can email us at GaytriarchsPodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can DM us on Instagram. We are at GaytriarchsPodcast. On the internet, David is at David FM Vaughn everywhere, and Gavin is at Gavin Lodge in a Happy Meal.
Please leave us a glowing 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks. And we'll leave you speechless next time on another episode of Gaytriarchs.
Wait, is it Gavin or Gavin? I'm sorry.
It is. It's family blessing and curse. Yeah.
Gavin.
Gavin.
Yep.
Oh, they really
because he's gay. I mean, they really do. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me tell you, that second grade, I still have PTSD certainly from
his
grade.
middle name is Versatile Bottom too. It's really weird how they just got him right where they needed to.
And my last name is Lodge, so just fill the lodge.
The minute he was born, they're like, we can read him.